Hello, everyone. My name is Link, team captain and player for Veritas, co-founder of the DGL, the Digital Gaming League, thedgl.com, and I'll be going over competitive firefight on Precinct East. So, anyways, Precinct East kind of resembles one of the source maps from Insurgency Source district. With it's been heavily modified, but overall the layout is in general the same. The big difference you have here is you've got these side streets that go all the way around. So you have these long flank routes. So you need to be wary of those, right? So just getting into it, I'll go over some common spots, and then we'll go into the details. So first thing I'm going to do is go over callouts. So there's really like 6 main callouts. Well, there's a little bit more than that, but anyways, I'll go over them. So coming out of security spawn, you're usually always in the beginning going to want to come out this way and run up. You're going to run up into up here. This is balcony, right? Balcony is a super strong position for security. Underneath balcony, and I'll just back up here for those people that don't know the map. If you were to take a left over here, you could find yourself in cafe. So this is cafe. So on security side, you have the lower portion, which is cafe. The upper portion is balcony. On the flip side, and we'll just keep it going from the security side. So if you run past balcony on the right side, all the way past arch, you'll come over to apartments on the upper side. So this is apartments. And if you were to go around, you would find jail, right? So this is jail. So on insurgent sides, the lower portion is jail. The upper portion is apartments. On security side, you've got the lower portion is cafe, and the upper portion is balcony. All right. So you've got their arch, our arch, which is usually how you call it. So if we're on security, this is our arch, and then if we're on security still looking, this is called their arch. Right. Connected to cafe, you'll also hear people call this garage. So garage and cafe are connected. On balcony, you'll have them called their balk, our balk. One of the most important calls is going to be dark window. So this is D1. D1 overlooks pretty much everything. You have a good line of sight there. And then over here you have D2, right? So dark window. So this is dark right here. Super powerful position. Basically, there's always going to be somebody in this area, right, on security, because it's such a powerful position. So dark window, balcony, underneath you have cafe, and then on the flip side you have, on the upper portion you have apartments, and then something I didn't mention is cubby. This is cubby. This is very important. Cubby connects basically jail, which is right here. So what you'll see oftentimes is security will run through and then run through jail. They will run up to cubby and then up into apartments and try to kill the insurgent player. Right? So repetition is key, I think, for callouts. That's why I'm saying it so many times. There are more callouts than that, and I may use them periodically throughout this overview, but I just want to call out those main ones. All right, we'll go over like complex callouts or more specific callouts later. But cafe, balcony, dark window, cubby, apps, jail. 6. All right. Apps, cubby, jail is on one side. Dark window, balcony, and cafe are on the other. All right. So your typical setup that you're going to have here is 2 people are usually going to go up into balcony. One person is going to hold dark window, and the other person on security is going to rush out onto balcony. Now, depending on the person that's playing, depends on how far they rush out, right? If it's a passive person, maybe they'll come out and play in this little nook right here. If they're an aggressive person, maybe they'll push over into side room. There's another call out that we have. So on balcony, you have side room, all right? Side room can then look up and over into apartments, or they can just hold down balcony, right? And then you're usually going to have one player who plays in the cafe region. How that person plays cafe is completely, again, up to them. Some people play in cafe. Some people play out on a porch. There's another call out for you. So there'll be a guy out on porch. He'll play in cafe, or he'll play way far out, or he'll play super far back, or he'll play very aggressive. So there's lots of things that you can do in each lane. You can change it up, kind of how you play it. The security cafe player has a lot of different options on how he wants to play, if he wants to play there at all. But those are typically the three positions that are always played. You watch any shoutcasted match or anything like that. I'm not giving away any secrets here. There's usually always one in dark window, which is on my left over here, and then there's always somebody in the middle of balcony, and then there's always going to be someone in cafe or around cafe. I'm going to turn my mic up a little bit because I'm talking a little low. All right, there we go. Okay. So those are the three positions. The other two positions are usually going to be your B player, and your kind of lurker / float person over in apartments and jail. And the nice part about this map is security does have quite a big advantage, right? So the timing just kind of works out that security can basically get out on the balcony for free if they get an average spawn and the insurgents get an average spawn. If the security player that's running on the balcony gets a bad spawn and the insurgent player gets a good spawn, it could be very, very, very close. But typically, security can get out on the balcony for free. And then they just have so much power because they can basically choose where they want to peek, and insurgents are stuck peeking out from one of these windows, right? So I mentioned the three power positions that are usually always played, and then there's two people on security that are kind of floating and lurking. Usually you'll have a B player, and usually you'll have another person lurking up in apartments or jail. Not giving out too much secrets here. Pretty much everything you'll see in a shoutcasted match. The B player, usually he has a lot of options as well. He'll either play aggressive or play slow. He can wait for a few picks and then push on. He can push on right away. He can bait the objective. It just depends on how he wants to play it. He can get to B multiple ways. He can jump out of the windows. He can go through cafe. He can go through arch. He could go through jail. It just depends on what he's going to do. The person lurking you will usually lurk in apartments or lurk into jail. It depends. The B player and the fifth player who are lurking, they're usually communicating back and forth, changing up what they're doing and working together. Usually you'll always see the three security players play the same spots: security, balcony, and cafe. That's just kind of like locking down the map. That's always going to be played. It's just really the two other security players who are kind of changing up what they're doing and trying to make the strategy different. So in terms of the insurgents, let's flying through their arch. All right, we'll just go to their spawn. That way you can see how we kind of come out of spawn. And this is something that's very important and something that experienced players take for granted. You got to know how to leave spawn, and it's really simple. It's just the pathing that matters, right? So you don't want to go to the left. You don't really want to go to the right. You want to come from insurgent spawn, which we're in right now. You're going to come straight out and then just kind of head straight across. Most people are going to try and do the jump through the bus window to shave off a half a second or so. Crouch jump through the window and then come down, and then they'll go to apartments. You'll usually see 2 to 3 people go this way, and then 2 to 3 people or not 2 to 3, excuse me. Usually 3 people will come out this way, and then 1 to 2 people will go out this way. It kind of just depends. Insurgent is a very difficult side for this map, and it takes a lot of patience and knowing what your teammates are doing and having good cohesion and synergy. So as you start playing this map, it may be very difficult for you on Insurgents, and that's okay. We've all had that difficulty. Once you play the map more and gain a lot of experience, you'll start to see the map more and understand what you need to do. So usually the common spots you have on Insurgents are someone's going to run up the apartment stairs and head to A1 and try to pick off that Balk player. But that being said, you have to be very careful. Like, security players are getting really good at playing balcony now. So if you're going to peek out on A1, you need to have pretty good aim, and you need to be really, really, really quick with your reaction time, because he is going to see, that security player is going to see you before you see him. So you kind of need to do a little dance and, you know, I'm not saying not to peek it, just be careful. You can peek A1 or you can peek down here. We haven't really distinguished a call out for this, but maybe we should, and maybe your team should, because you'll see oftentimes someone will go prone here and try to peek that dark window, or D1, right? So as you can see it from the flip side. Oh, I wish Q and E could go up, but it can't, so I have to do this little dance every time. So this is what A1 looks like out of balcony. You usually have an Insurgent player around here. He's probably not going to be sticking his head out the window trying to get popped off, but he will be in this general location. Then you'll have another Insurgent player who is trying to get across into apartments. However, you have Apps hole right here that usually will get shot out from dark window. Pretty much every team these days is pre-firing this cross, so when you come across, be very careful about this couch. Stay a little bit to the right, because what will happen is you want to jump as you go across as to try and not get hit, right? So usually you'll jump crouch across. That puts your head up, and then it makes you have a low profile, so you have the least amount possibility to be picked. However, just be careful with this couch, because if you go to jump across, you catch the edge, you'll start vaulting, and you're dead. Like, easy peasy. Then the third player on Insurgents, it's kind of a toss-up. He'll usually lurk between helping Apps or going jail. I've seen a lot of players play down in jail. They try to stop this wide flank, because you can see that A and C are actually connected. So if security wants to, they can just run all the way on the outside and go to C for free. Meanwhile, they can also, excuse me, I know I'm flying all over the place. Security can also do that from the A street. Oh, we're going. So if security runs all the way around here, they can come through the backside and then go to C. You can actually take it even farther. You can actually go all the way back here if you're really trying to be safe, and then go into C. So there's lots of flanking opportunities on this map. It just takes a long time. Anyways, 2 in apartments usually. 1 will lurk jail or lurk in apartments. The fourth player is usually always going to play in between balcony and cafe, and the 5th player is very much a lurker and a float. It just depends on where they want to apply pressure. If they, you could stack 3 up in apartments. Maybe 1 pushes apartments, 1 goes A1. A1 is this window right here, right? And we number it left or right to left, excuse me. So A1, A2. This right here is A3, which is jail, and then you've got A4, which is their apartments, right? If we were on Insurgents, I would say, oh, their apps. So, 1 Insurgent's usually going to push apartments, 1 Insurgent's going to hold back. A 3rd Insurgent is usually going to lurk. Maybe he'll go down in a cubby. Maybe he'll just hang back waiting, and then a 4th one will go to jail, and then a 5th one will go to balcony. Usually what you don't want to do is on Insurgents is push out onto B, because they have such an advantage that they will usually see you. However, not a bad idea to sometimes throw it in there just to test the waters. And it just kind of like comes down to if you're lucky and get away with it, right? So I think in the beginning of Season 1, everyone was pretty much pre-nating this arch, because in Season 1, most people on teams would have somebody try to push out here and hop onto T1. So if you come right here and you prone, you'll actually be on the objective. But it's a really easy nade, right? Just bank it off the back, and then it lands there and kills the Insurgent player very easily. So now in Season 2, most teams aren't defaulting to running out onto B. And in Season 1, it wasn't even that common then. In Season 2, it's even less common now. So the B player on Insurgents, it's very, 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 very hard to play B on Insurgent. You have to be very patient. You do not have a lot of cover. You can come out and play this van. However, you're exposed to balcony and cafe very easily. And then if you go prone on this side, it's pretty much the same thing. Cafe and balcony can see you. Their apps can see you. You can get flanked from jail. Playing B it can be very frustrating on Insurgents, right? One thing that would really help is if a stall was right here, a big stall, but you just have this little stall, so you get what you get and you don't get upset. So this over here is called S1. This is a super common spot for security. Usually if security gets on B, they'll be at S1, or we call this Bark spot right here because of a player in Season 1. Bark used to play this spot all the time. So my team just started calling it Bark spot. We started using it in Pugs, and now everyone just calls it Bark spot. So, and usually if security steps on from here, usually they just ran all the way through cafe, right? They'll come out here, run straight on, boom, go, right? So that's pretty much the common spots, right? You've usually got one insurgent playing passive in apps, one person playing aggressive in apps, one person lurking in apps, one person lurking the jail area, and one person playing Balk or Cafe. The third person that's lurking in apps, they can also change it up. They can go, to Balk. They can go to Cafe. They can flank all the way on the outside. It just depends. Flanking around on the long streets is something that people experiment with. You just have to be really, really, really careful. But usually security is on Cafe is not going to be sitting watching it. Because they don't want someone to creep underneath them. But they have a pretty good shot from the inside if you're going to cross. So if you're going to do it, you need to probably use smokes. And then on security, just to reiterate what I said before, you're going to have one person in dark window, one person in balcony, one person in cafe. The other two people are going to be communicating a lot with each other, and they're going to kind of change it up depending on what the Insurgent team is doing. Now, I want to take a step back because this is supposed to be for newer players. One of the biggest things for newer players is not informing themselves with the tools that they have available, right? So you shouldn't really have to ask, hey, how many of us are alive? You can do that very easily by just holding tab, right? And you'll see you see me or other competitor players when they stream, they'll open the map all the time, right? And that's just, we spam it very quickly, and you'll be like, oh, why is he doing that? It's so annoying. We spam it really quickly because we want to see where our teammates are. Because where our teammates are not is probably where the enemy is. Whoa, I know. 200 IQ, mind explosions, right? But you can gather all that information by simply checking your map. And in a second, you know exactly pretty much where the enemy probably is. Now, that's not like ESP. That doesn't, it just gives you a ballpark of they're probably around this area, right? So if you're just sitting there chilling and you start to think, what's going on? Just check your map. I cannot, and I always go over this. It's just, I always hound this into people ever since Source. I've been playing Insurgency since 2013. Just always check your map. Always. Whenever you're getting nervous, don't know what's going on, check your map. Also, I actually have started hitting tab now because I can, it just kind of gives me like, this is how many of my teammates are dead. But usually the map will show you that, right? Like if all my teammates are on my friends list, they're greenish yellow, throw up yellow green or whatever it is. So as soon as I open my map, I'm like, okay, there's only 3 of us. How many did we kill, right? So always check your map for information, and that also lets you know where you're weak at, right? So say you have all your security players are on balcony, right? And you lose 2 players, and you're sitting up here in Balk, and you're just sitting back. This is a common spot here, sitting on couch, sitting back, looking at balcony, right? Or pressed up against the window, looking at balcony, and you hit tab. You're like, where is everyone? And you strafe to the right really quick, and you hit your map, and you go, oh shoot, we have nobody on App's jail side. That would tell you that you're probably about to be flanked, right? So what you want to do is run over, come over to this hole up in balcony, and you can prone and look down. And look down into there, right? Now, that being said, another point I want to talk about for new players. When you die, you are not done playing, okay? You want to be an active dead spectator. That doesn't mean you're going to talk, right, all the time, you know, because you want your teammates to hear, but what you want to do is remind your teammates of what's going on. So say I'm dead and I'm spectating my teammate right here, right? I'm going to be like, and I know that we all died. So me and the apps player, we died together, right? So I know that this street is open, and I know that they're probably going to flank on my Balk player. If I'm watching my Balk player and I go, hey, you know, Balk player, we're dead on apps. Our C Street is open. Watch your flank. Look out C Street. I'm going to tell him that, and because he may be so zoned in that he's just looking at Balk, waiting for that kill. Like, say this door is open, right? You're just like, you're laser focused on that door. You don't want him to step out. So sometimes you gotta like kind of, hey, watch out behind you. C Street's open. Watch your flank, and then you'll see him move and whatnot. So if you don't see your teammates react to your call out, you should probably repeat yourself, right? And I mean, our team, Veritas, our comms drive people crazy sometimes because it's like an auction. It's like, do I hear 25, 25, 25, 50, 50, 55, 75, 75, 85, 85, 95? It's like, he's apps, Balk, behind you. Watch S1. He's in jail. Like, we're calling out everything all at the same time, and you can't hear anything. But if you have all 5 callouts, you know where all the enemy is. You don't really need to hear, right? And some people have issues with that because they can't handle it. They're like, you're talking to me and I can't focus, which is fair, but like, you also kind of need it. It's a balancing act. Like, you should get used to hearing a lot of callouts at once and filtering that information, but at the same time, your team should know when, like, hey, let me play. So like, that's our call out. That's our thing on Veritas is, like, if 4 of us are dead, we all think we know best. Like, there's a guy here. Like, be careful. And like, our little, like, our safety word is, our safety phrase is, hey, let me play. And then we all just be quiet, and we may make a call out for him or whatnot, but once he says that, we just say, okay, like, we're gonna be quiet. He's gonna play. Another thing with spectating, with actively dead spectating, is sometimes I'm gonna have my, like, nose pressed up against my monitor, looking for that single pixel. So say I've got a teammate right here on Balk stairs, right? So we're trying to grow this on here. We're calling this dark stairs because it leads up to dark window, and we're calling this Balk stairs, right? It's tough for me. I'm still getting it down because I'm not used to that, but something I'm trying to ingrain in the newer players. So say I've got a teammate down here, right, and he's laser focused on jail. My eyes, I'm gonna be like pressed up against the I'm gonna be looking up at A1. So I'm gonna be like leaning forward, looking up at A1, looking for the tiniest pixel that I can. And as soon as I see that pixel, I'm gonna be like, A1, and he'll snap over and look at A1 because I know he's super focused on jail and A3, or jail window as some people will call it, right? And jail is right in front of us, what I'm looking at. This right here, this is jail, right? And this is, you'll hear this called A3, and you'll hear this called jail window. All right? So that's another thing about actively spectating. So, and it's something like, it takes a long time, to kind of get this down because you're dead and you're like, oh, how did I die? I died because of this and blah, blah, blah. And that's fine. But just as your career progresses as a competitive player, you're going to want to learn those skills, right? So you see your teammate focused on one point. If his gun is looking at jail, your eyes as a dead spectator or a dead teammate should be looking somewhere else, ready to give that call out to him, right? So those are kind of just some, like, higher tier skills that I think some people, kind of forget and don't talk about. And I think those things are very important. It's sometimes the small little details as a teammate that make the difference between winning and losing. Okay. So, that is the basic cover of Precinct East. I'm going to go over loadouts really quickly, and then I'll go over some advanced stuff. All right? So, basically on security, the flanker weapon is really good. You're gonna get the. I was obviously practicing nades earlier. I have 3 nades. You're not allowed to use 3 nades in matches, but I grabbed 3 nades just to kind of practice. So the Mark 18 CQB, I really like that gun as a flanker. I often will play flanker. It's extremely superb to any of the insurgency flanker weapons. So that's my choice of gun when I'm playing on security flanker. Usually what I'm going to do when I'm playing security assault, pretty much this is kind of the brand standard is the Mark 14. Grab a nade, and then it depends on if you want a light carrier or not. The Mark 14 is going to tear through ammo, right, with only 20 bullets. You're just going to, especially with the pre-fires. The Mark 14 has some of the highest damage. That's why we use it. It's pretty much a one-tap, one-bullet time to kill. So pretty much everyone's going to be using a Mark 14. If you want to use another gun, if I need to use utility, like I want to have like a nade and, I don't know, a Molotov or something, I don't know, or an incendiary, then sometimes I'll take the L85. The L85 was a gun that was used a lot in Season 1. I've gotten so used to the Cobra sight now, though, that I can't use anything but the Cobra sight. Another interesting tidbit of information, in the competitive theater, all the optics are available to both teams, which is something that is amazing. However, it's not in public comp. Yeah, 20 rounds. So, the Mark 14, or, I'll use the L85. Now, you won't see me use the L85 that often, and I'm sure a lot of people would argue, forget having the utility, just take the Mark 14. But, sometimes you want to have an incendiary and a nade. So, Mark 14, Cobra, some people are using the 1X. It's all preference, really, but I like the 1X Cobra. I'll take a nade. Usually I'll take a carrier because usually I'm going to take utility like a smoke or an incendiary. All right. And then for insurgents, what you're going to have is you're going to have the FAL, the 1X Cobra, and then, a frag, and then whatever else you have to. But you're always usually going to take the FAL or the SVD. FAL or the SVD on insurgents. And then if you're for the assault class, and then for flanker, unfortunately, you don't really have that many good options. So you're probably going to want to take the MP5, and whatever you shoot at, just unload your whole magazine, and then say a little prayer in hopes that you kill that person, because the MP5 damage compared to the Mark 14 is abysmal. And if you're listening, NWI would really, really love a buff to the AKS-74U. Would really love a buff for the AKS-74U. The Insurgents have the Mark 18 mod, which is a beast of a flanker gun, and the Insurgents have absolutely almost nothing. So I typically will not use the AKS. I will use the MP5. So, and then I'll take like a frag. All right. So usually you won't be sniping on this map. Sometimes you can pull it out. It's just kind of hard with the CQC that goes on, the close quarters combat. So this is like a typical, and I'll just show you just quickly a typical route coming out of spawn. As you spawn, you'll play with that Mark 14. And so, like I said, 2 people on balcony, 1 in cafe typically. You'll run up, and you'll kind of decide from here what you want to do. If they're running out of arch, you can go for the pre-fire. But typically, people are going to just run right past that, come over to the second window, and look for that player to kind of jump up, and then they'll pre-fire them. As they do so, just kind of walk it through the wall, right? Try to catch him over there. but I barely shot my gun and I'm already out of ammo. So you can tell that you're gonna run out of a lot of ammo very quickly here. I have the light carrier on. A lot of people want speed. They're not gonna take that light carrier, but the light carrier adds 2 magazines, which is nice. And then once you sit up in balcony, you're kind of just gonna chill there and listen to the callouts of your team. Try not to get picked off after you pick apps. You know, you can kind of look at balcony or try and look at A1. Just be very careful of this spot underneath right there. It's really super hard to see that player that's prone underneath. So you can kind of just sit up in here and kind of assist your team and look for kills. Usually what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hold balcony for your teammate. So the secondary balc player is going to usually push out to here. Oh, I just slid by accident. You can come right here, look at A1. If he gets a good spawn, he can kind of walk across, take this person off. Maybe he'll want to jump up into here. Oh, as I whiff it. You can tell I obviously don't play here. What you can do is step up here and look up into the windowsills. If you don't want to be that cheeky, then you can just kind of play back. In the beginning, though, you're going to see a lot of balc players just play around this sandbag and then have their secondary dark D1 player, the dark window player, cover them, right? And then they'll use their ears to hear if anyone is pushing up into balc after them. Right. So another thing that a lot of people don't know, and I'm not the best at it, so you know you can laugh at me. But if you have your iron sights down and you open a door, it'll open up all the way, right? But if you have your iron sights up, it's actually going to crack open. So you can kind of keep your iron sights up, open the door, and then crack it open like that. Now what you can do is kind of look through these cracks, look for any players, and then you can kind of slowly creep out. What a lot of people will do is they'll just This is for Insurgents, by the way. Sorry, I didn't roll flip here. So if you're playing on Insurgents, why can I not? What's going on here? There we go. You can jump, crouch across, and then try to take this position, and use the cracked door to kind of protect you and look down over into that balc player, right? And then as you do it, it'll open. So. So when you come out on a balcony on Insurgents, just be mindful of the side room player, and it's going to be very hard to push out into here. You have to be careful of this balc player in D1. So you're really going to have some help. You're really going to need some help if you're on Insurgents and you want to push out onto balcony. Right. And I'll teach you guys a nade here. Can't give away all my secrets, but I will teach you a nade. One nade that you can do from behind here, let me see, and again, I don't do this regularly. So, I think it's over here. You can throw that up and over, and then that'll land over. Should land over on balcony. I'm not sure if it made it, but you get the gist of it. I think it landed on top, actually. Oh, actually, it landed right here. Look at that. Huh. There we go. So you can throw it up and over. If you want to go back and look at that, I'm not gonna do it again. All right, it's only one time. Because if I try to do it again, it's not gonna happen. So you can throw that nade up and over to try and stop the rush. So it's a little secret nade for you. And then that is how to play balcony from both sides. Well, ish. There's a lot of different options here, and that's the thing is, Insurgency is chess. Every little move matters. Every little thing you change up. So all those micro adjustments are going to make the difference and are super important. Right. So cafe. Typically, what's going to happen here is you're not when you're on security, you're not going to open that door because it might be. It's really. I think it's really spawn dependent. I'm not sure. I don't play cafe that much. But typically what happens is the Insurgent player, now that I'm Insurgent, hey look, I'm an Insurgent, they'll peek out here and start spraying through the door to try to catch somebody that's sitting behind the desk right there. That's why it's kind of nice to play off angle, right? You don't want to line up directly with it because a lot of times there will be pre-fire that comes through the door, right? And then you can kind of just mix and match up. You can look through this crack, see if you see anybody on the outside, come through and connect with them. Right. Another thing too is to really pay attention to what's going on. Like, how many nades went off, where are the smokes coming out, what do you think they're doing, right? And really thinking about where your people are dying and how they're dying. You can kind of mentally get an image in your head of where the enemies are and probably what the setup is they're doing. Now, this is just kind of at the higher level. At the pug level and the lower level, it's just going to be like random. Like, it's basically 5 players. It's like single individual players, you know, playing a lane rather than 5 people, right? Like sharing one brain. So on Veritas, you know, there's one brain split between 5 of us. So each of us have 1/5 of a brain. And it really shows, right? But that being said, we're all connected. So but it's super important. In pugs, you can get away with a lot of stuff. And pugs are pickup games. I haven't really advertised them, but if you're interested in competitive, go to discord.thedgl.com. Register your region, register your game, read through the pug guide, check the check mark, and then you can start playing pickup games. Pickup games are organized 5v5s. Anyways, back to it. There's my little advertisement. Correct. Don't have to be smart brain. Just got to be fast brained. That's exactly right. So cafe on security, you can play it inside. You can play it outside. The problem with playing outside is that I don't like having to cross this street late in the round, but it is what it is. I mean, you could get away with playing over here, letting the Insurgent walk through and killing them, and then you could listen for footsteps on the left side and then going after them. For Insurgents playing cafe, you just kind of have to wing it, right? A lot of times it's a super slow lurk. You're gonna play around with these doors. You know, maybe pre-fire, maybe throw a nade. Cafe is definitely security dominated, so you kind of have to toss the dice, roll the dice, should I say, in terms of what strategy and tactic you're gonna use to clear out cafe as an Insurgent player. And the security player has the advantage. So, not saying not to go for it. Sometimes it'll really work, but more often than not, if that security player is really watching cafe, you're probably not gonna get through there without a little bit of help. And also, something you know that you gotta realize is that you could sit in this hallway forever, wait for if you're on Insurgent, excuse me. If you're on Insurgents, you could wait in this hallway forever, and then as soon as your teammate gets 2 kills, usually it's like if your teammate gets 2 kills, the other team has to start rotating. So if this guy's in cafe, then excuse me, I've been talking a lot. If this guy's in cafe, then you know that he's gonna have to move if your team gets 2 kills. So you can kind of wait. Okay, we got 2 kills. You're like, all right, wait, just calm down, breathe a little, wait 15 seconds, and then you can kind of just go for it, right? Or bust through the door, charging in. All right. One other little tidbit of information. I'm dropping these little Easter eggs and breadcrumbs here. You can hear people when they ADS. So one thing I've been seeing a lot from a lot of players. I don't really know what games they come from. I've even seen it recently from a lot of Insurgency players. Is what they want to do is they want to walk around. So I have my walk bound to Alt. Right. I just press it, and now I'm walking around. And you notice, you know, I'm not making any sound. However, what they do is they're not making any sound. They're being a ninja, and then they keep ADSing. They keep their gun down. You know, a lot of people like to keep their gun down because it blocks their vision, right? And something I've gotten used to is just kind of, you can either aim at what you're aiming or aim a little lower and then pop up. But they'll be ninjing around. They'll be in a great spot, and then they'll ADS. And if you have your sound jacked up like me, I'm going to be like, hey, there's someone upstairs. I just heard him ADS. So just remember that you can hear people ADS. So for those of you that like to walk around and ADS a lot, stop it. Really only ADS when you have to. All right. So that's cafe on both sides, security and Insurgents. Right. So I don't know why I'm running over here. I should just switch my class. All right. So we've got the foul. We're ready to go. I know I don't use a foregrip. I need to remake my classes ever since the oh, what is wrong with me tonight? There we go. That was terrible. Anyways, running back through. You're running up through apps. You're gonna go and try and pick this Balk player. You know he has the beat on you. What I would suggest is kind of just to wait for him to cross. You can risk it for the biscuit. You can come up here, run out, and hope, you know, that you can pick him early. But more often than not, that security player is going to be looking right at you, and he is going to already be set up. He'll probably have a full course meal, finish dessert, wash his hands, and then he's ready. And you're just getting to the dinner table, and he's already picked you. So just be mindful of when you peek out here, okay? Just be very careful. A lot of you will just run right across and say screw it, and then go prone, and then start looking for this player. You know, not much you can see here, but you can kind of walk up to it, look, and go for the pick. I think actually you got to be careful of gun block. Actually, you're pretty good with the foul. SVD might actually get blocked there. I do not know. Nice. So this Insurgent player in A1 is usually going to be chilling up here all game, just chilling, hanging out, looking for picks. And then your apps player, he's usually going to try and rush off. You want to be clear of this couch when you jump across. Jump across, jump crouch. Right? Jump crouch to raise your head up. You don't want to slide, because what's going to happen a lot of times is if you slide, he's going to be aiming for the middle of your body, and if you slide, that's where your head is, right? So you could try sliding. It's just I would recommend jump crouching across and getting in. Right? Be mindful of this. See that? You can get really close. If you take the corner too tight, you'll start vaulting, and you'll vault right in front of this guy in D2, dark window 2, and he's going to kill you. Right? When you get up into here, you're just going to want to play it safe, or it's actually up to you. Just pay attention to how they play. If they haven't been playing an apps player, then sure, by all means, you know, come push up. Maybe you can take out the Balk player, right? If you're an Insurgent player and you can take security apps away from them and just kind of look at balcony, that's super strong. That's a super strong position. You can hop up into the window and just look all towards balcony. This right here is called pillars. It's usually a typical drop spot for security on apps, or if Insurgents are going to come out of cubby or drop. And also you usually won't see security play here, because then it leaves them open to Absol and cubby. But you will see Insurgent players play here a lot if they get this. They'll be up in the pillars. Sorry about that. Oh yeah, they are here. Okay. So on security, what's going to happen is, this is where teamwork is super, super important, okay? So remember how you have a person up when you're on security. Remember how you have a player up in balcony, right? That security player is watching the cross, right? He's going to be right here in this window. He's looking at the cross. He comes here. He's going to say 1 cross, 2 cross, 3 cross, red fish, blue fish, 1 fish, 2 fish. He's going to tell you how many cross, right? He's going to tell his whole entire team. That's very important for the security player playing apps. If you hear, oh, nobody crossed, then you can go up and start and get really far into their apps, right? Just depends on how you want to play. But it's super important to have that call out. So every player that's playing balcony, window, dark window 2 as security needs to call the cross for the apps player. They needed to call it regardless, because it's super important to know if you can get flanked or not. All right. Now on security, you want to listen for that call, and basically, whatever call that is, you need to play off of that. So if you hear that they're rushing, maybe you want to take a left really quick and then hold down apps and just hold it. You know, because what can happen is they'll rush right into you and you'll get a free kill. Maybe if you hear one, maybe you're already gonna pre-nade. So you hear them rush, you've already got the nade out, you pull the pen, you throw it around the corner. So you're already ready. You know, you get up here, you're like, screw it. They've been rushing apps this whole time. I'm going to do it. Just go fast. And you come up, throw the nade around the corner, and then as soon as the nade blows up, just come around the corner prone and look for them. Be very careful, though, because if they're prone in the back, you kind of have to guess where they are, and they'll see your head before you see them, and you can just take it off. They'll just take you off. Right. This is jail window or A3. So that is how I would play apps for Insurgents and Security. Security, you're basing your play, if you're going to play aggressive or passive, off how many cross or not. Right? Remember, though, Insurgents can actually duck in right here without being seen. So they can come here and look right here. So if you're sitting at A4 as security, you need to watch out for this player right here, the place that I'm playing at. Make sure you keep your gun up when you come around the corner. And that is apartments. Now, if you're going to play jail on security, the nice part is that you have this jail door closed for you, right? The timing goes that Insurgents can bust through the door, and you'll basically be like right here in front of them. So oftentimes, what Insurgents are going to do is they're going to try to pre-fire the door, but if you're running it really fast, you can usually get by them, right? So usually in jail, it's going to be a lurk fest. You're going to be waiting. He's going to be waiting. Is he going to come through the door? You don't know. Is he going to, you know, if I'm on security, is he coming through the door? Is he going to go around the side? I don't know. Let's just wait. Have they been playing jail? You know, if they haven't been playing jail at all, then it's completely open and you can just push around to the outside. So, jail's kind of one of those positions that, you know, it's played sometimes. Sometimes it's not. It just depends on what you're kind of trying to push. You could kind of just throw one round away and rush through jail and see what they're doing. But if you go through jail, usually they're not going to let you get away with that again. So jail is kind of like a sneaky play for security, and it's pretty much the same thing for Insurgents. Insurgents can creep out and just kind of slowly lurk on the outside if they're playing it. So not really a lot of technicalities here. You know, sometimes people pre-fire through the door, sometimes not. There's not really a good pre-fire that's quick. I've looked for some. You can't really shoot through any of these walls. You have to like fully commit. So you have to fully commit, and anytime you're shooting, you always want to be crouched, right? So way different than that, right? So you can see the bullet spread. Recoil is substantially lower when crouched. So you're always going to want to be crouch shooting. Always, 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 always. So not much strategy in jail. Usually you're just going to lurk through it or around it, or you're going to ghost it, or you're going to camp there, which I guess that could probably be said about any lane. Now, playing on to B. I guess I last touched on Insurgents playing B. So I will just kind of wrap up that and go back to what I originally said. Very hard to play B on Insurgents. Very, very hard to play B on Insurgents. A lot of times, you're just kind of in the wing, waiting to see if your team gets any picks or not, right? Sometimes, you know, the B player will run down into cubby. They'll wait, you know, look up into dark window, try and get a pick from there. But usually you're going to have that MP5, so usually you're just going to want to hide, you know, in a corner and just kind of wait until it's your time to shine, or not. Because you can step out. Really what you want to do is wait for that Valk player to be gone, and then you can take your chances in playing Van. But it's still just super, super hard to play B on Insurgents. The B player on Insurgents, you guys cut cut them a lot of slack. It's super hard. My team yells at me all the time because they hate me. But, you know, it is what it is. Oh, look at that. I didn't know you could do that. I mean, it makes sense, but I don't know when you would ever do that, to be honest. How did I do that just now? I was not paying attention. I was just talking. Like this? Look at that. Hey! Anyways. That's a very risky move and probably not necessary. If you're jumping around in the middle of the open, you're probably going to die. But for security, you've got plenty of options, unlike Insurgents, right? You can jump out the windows onto S1. You can come out of Arch, and hope and just pray that they're not playing in their Arch. You can run through Cafe. You can bait the point. You can get on fairly easily. So you have a lot of different options on security of playing B, and that's why on security you can get away with making a mistake, right? But on Insurgents, you have to play super, super clean. You're really looking for that pick on the balcony or something like that. So, I think I'm trying to think of what else here. It's just super important when you're playing balcony D2. When you're this D2 player in security, is watching the cross and calling out how many crossed. I think another thing too is, I guess, some simple stuff that we do all the time, which a lot of people already know, is saving the cap. Right, it's a little bit harder on this map because you don't really know where to run off. So say I'm in S1, right? My whole team is alive. I don't want to cap because we have a lot of time in the round still there, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold my scoreboard up. I'm gonna look. Okay, we have all 5 up. All right, B is at 80, 90. I'll just jump off, and then I'm gonna want to stay close, right? So you can just you can hide away from people and just wait, and then whenever one of your team dies or 2 teammates die, you can run on to B and get the cap and get the free respawn. You typically don't want to waste a cap if there is a lot of time left and your teammates are alive. Now, sometimes you're going to get pinched, you're not going to be able to get out of there, and you're just going to have to cap, right? But if you can, try not to cap if there's a lot of time left and your team is alive. And that just kind of goes back to, okay, what am I looking at? And this actually, when I'm on B, I'll actually look at my map quite a bit, right? Because you're watching this jail player, and then I'll say, okay, I've got a player lurking in abs. I think that there's going to be a guy that's going to flank me. So I'll actually change positions, right? And I'll look for this guy flanking our arch, right? And that's just, you know, looking at the map. Now, what's gonna happen here is you're gonna I know what's gonna happen. You're gonna be looking at jail, you're gonna look at your map, the guy's gonna peek out of jail and kill you, and you'll be like, Link is dumb, why did I listen to him? I'm never checking my map again. And for that, I'm sorry, but you know, it just happens. So oh well. Another thing that I've seen people do, and I want to kind of, this is just based on a team thing, is usually what you, like, if I am in a, if I'm in a protected spot, right? Say I'm just like chilling, I'm not doing anything crazy. I know that the last guy is on A or something like that, right? I'm not in a good spot right now, but I'm trying to think. So if I'm, say I capped B, and they're capping A, right? And right when I capped B on security, I had 2 teammates dead, 3 teammates dead, right? I capped B, I brought back 3 of my teammates, right? I'm chilling by B, one of my teammates is headed towards C, however, 3 of my teammates are going to A, right? The first thing that happens when you respawn and they're capping your objective, like A, is you're like, get in, I gotta block, I gotta block, I gotta block, I gotta get in. But you gotta know how much time you have, right? So if he just got on and we respawned, you know, you got 25 seconds, you know. So you got quite a bit of time to get around the objective and then play from there. So maybe what I'll do is I'll make the call, I'll come back, I'll be like, all right, I'll go to garage, let me know when you guys are ready, right? And I'll just kind of chill here, I'll wait, and I'll look, and I'll watch the map, and I'll see them. All right, here they come, here they come, here they come. All right, countdown. All right, you know, and like someone's like, okay, I got main room, I'll take the back room. All right, let me know when you're ready at back room, and then we'll breach, okay? And it's like, all right, you know, okay, breach, clear in 3, 2, 1. They'll go in. If they die, I know garage is clear. I'll go right in and block. I'm saying I'm blocking. Where is he? Right? It never happens this cleanly, but it needs to happen in that sort of fashion, because what happens a lot of times is there's one guy on A, one enemy on A, and there's 3 of you, and you push in one at a time. And that's, you know, and that just comes down to communication. You need to be like, okay, hold on. All right, push in 3, 2, 1, push in. You know? Also for A, you've got main room, back room, garage, and I just call this office right here. So office, garage, main room, back room. And we really should come up with a call out for here. I don't know. Usually if I don't have a good name for something, I just call it proper. Because it's 2 syllables and it doesn't mean anything, and I don't know. Proper. You know. Or you can call it rugs, lockers, main, shelf. I don't know. Some people, I won't name any names, require a reference for a call out, while others like myself can use my imagination. So, and then yeah. And for B, I told you about Cubby. This is T1 right here. That's Bark Spot. It's on the objective. This is Sandbags. This is S1. And then this is Van. Our van, their van. Pillars. Cubby. Cubby goes up to apartments. So on the Insurgent side, from top to bottom, you have jail, which is connected by Cubby to apartments. Apartments is the upper area. And then on the security side, you've got Balk and Cafe. And those are the main callouts. And we do actually have a call out for weeds. So this is weeds right here. This is their weeds, and then you can call our weeds, which is over here. But you'll hear some people say fire barrel. Say our weeds, which is over here. And that is a decent overview of Precinct East for a competitive firefight. I showed you guys how to leave spawn. Showed you the callouts, common spots, common pre-fires. Where am I even? I'm lost. Hello? Oh, there we go. And I showed you what route to take out of spawn. And what it comes down to is just communication. So when you get a kill, you know, you'll say minus apartments, you know, and a lot of people don't like will give a call out but not say they're dead, and it's super important to say that. I'm down at apartments, or like he's A1, I'm dead, right? And A1, which is another common spot, is over here, right? This is A1. I don't know if I kind of did go over that. So this is A1. So A1, I'm dead on balcony. Like, so I like to repeat callouts. I also need my callouts to be loud and frantic. Otherwise, I don't really care about them. Some people got really soft voices, and they actually make me feel very calm when they give a call out. Like, Link, he's behind you. And I'm like, oh, no big deal. Like, he's behind me. I don't need to stress out. You know? But when he should be like, Link, he's behind you. You know, I'm like, all right, now I really need to turn around. You know what I mean? So, I don't like my callouts to be ASMR. I want them to be yelled at me. But that's just me. I know that freaks out other people. So, you kind of just have to figure out what your team likes and kind of go with the flow. I think, too, one thing that I found, and this is just kind of on an attitude basis, don't be upset if someone's, like, trying to help you. Just, you know, be like, hey, you know, let me play. Just say, hey, let me know after the round. Let me play right now. And then that person will be like, okay. You know. But I think, you know, oftentimes you'll want to tell someone what to do. And then that person, like, it's just kind of when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object, right? Like, everyone thinks they know best. And sometimes you just have to be like, hey, let me play for a second, right? And also it's important that if someone's, like, giving you call-outs and they're clouding comms, I've seen some players who, like, really can't focus if there's comms going on. Like, that has to be something that you have to train yourself out of, because you could be playing in cafe and lurking around and really listening to footsteps, but there's also a whole nother battle going on other sides of the map, and those things need to be called out. So, like, I'll hear people say, hey, comms, stop calling, and it's like, dude, there are 4 other people, like, that are having other battles. These comms need to happen. Like, you're not always going to be able to hear everything. So just kind of try and be understanding. And I think that's the biggest thing, is trying to be understanding as a competitive player. Everybody thinks they know best. You know, everybody thinks they're right, but they're all wrong. I'm right, right? And that's what you that's what you need to learn. No, just try and be understanding. Or it's always best sometimes just to be like, hey, tell me after the round. Like, and then after the round, when everything's calmed down, you can be like, all right, what were you trying to tell me? Sorry, man, I was just really focused there. So, and also another thing, just a little quick thing that I got reminded of is when you're on B, make sure you give me your 25, 50, 75. So, all right, and the B player is usually the most vocal, right? Because the B player is usually out there sticking his neck out. He has the most information a lot of times. This map is whatever, but on some of the other maps, the B player really has a lot of information in his hands. So I'm on B. I'm like, B's clear. I'm capping 25%. And then when it gets to 50%, B 50%, B 75%, stalemated. B 75. I'll be like, B stalemated 75% for us. That's really important, because if I die and we had it 75% capped, they don't need to rush. They got 35, 40 seconds before Insurgent's cap. So say I'm on B and I die. I get naded or something. I'll be like, I died on B. It was stalemated 75% for us. You've got time. So, you know, it'll chill, and I'll be like, B is, you know, there's someone on B. It was 50% for us. I'll kind of count back a little bit, right? And that's kind of the important information, because everyone's dialed into their lanes. You like what I was saying, the example I gave up on balcony. If you see your Balc player not watching his back, when you know that C Street's open, you should remind him, hey, Balc player, your C Street is open. And that kind of gets them to be like, oh, shoot, I should back up, look over at C Street. So, but yeah, the B player needs to be vocal. There are some really quiet B players. If your team has to ask you what's going on B, more often than not, you are not communicating enough. Now, some positions are going to get shot at a lot, so they're not going to hear anything. So they're going to be like, hey, what's going on B? Just don't get mad at them. Just repeat. In the middle of a round is no time to argue, right? Especially when, you know, for those older players, you know, Jolly Bear on my team, you know, you got to say things like 4 times. I know I bought this guy hearing aids multiple times. He still can't hear me. And I'm one of the loudest people ever. And I got a really annoying voice. So I'm really surprised he can't hear me. Anyways, that is going to wrap up the workshop portion for Precinct East. My name is Link with Team Veritas, the DGL, the Digital Gaming League. Make sure to check out discord.thedgl.com. Been around since 2014, founded for Insurgency Source, and now we're here for Sandstorm. The Pug event is this Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern / 1900 Central Eastern Summertime CEST. I will be shoutcasting those games. The games on Saturday will be abbreviated. They'll be 1st to 7, best of 12. Typically in Pugs, we play best of 20, 1st to 11. So, thanks so much for watching.